All right, we start properly now because CONCACAF World Cup qualifying action happened last weekend and is set to continue this week. Jamaica's Reggae Boyz go into Tuesday's World Cup Qualifier against the United States, knowing they have no room for error as they push to qualify for the FIFA extravaganza in Qatar. Last Friday's 1-1 draw away to El Salvador, which came after conceding an injury time equalizer, leaves the Reggae Boyz 6th in the 8-team standings. So, two teams will beat them. El Salvador one, Honduras the other. USA atop, Mexico right in their slipstream. Same number of points, but goal difference separates them. And Canada a point back. Panama are the only other team in double digits. So 4 teams with what you could call a proper points haul from so many games in the round to date. 7 and 4 stragglers beneath them. Costa Rica, Jamaica, El Salvador and Honduras. So the question is, can the Reggae Boyz beat the USA on Sunday to boost those Qatar hopes? Brent Sancho joins us for that discussion. Brent, was there anything you saw in the El Salvador performance from an individual or a unit perspective that gives you cause for optimism about the Reggae Boyz' chances on Tuesday and beyond?
Well, there's not many within that performance that would suggest that Jamaica fortunes would change. But I would say, of course, the appearance of Antonio Valencia was one that showed some signs of
Michael Antonio.
Michael Antonio, sorry.
Yes.
Michael Antonio. Michael Antonio. But no, he was excellent, George. I thought when he came in, he gave something different and certainly was a bright spot in what was a drab and dismal game. And let's be honest, we spoke about it last week leading up to this game about the difficulties that the Jamaicans would experience in El Salvador, and a lot of it came to fruition.
So from a tactical perspective, though, I was watching the game thinking that perhaps it is that the El Salvador coach and the players had imposed their will on the game in a stronger manner than the Reggae Boyz did. Because guess what? If you have the team with, I don't want to say inferior players, but that's what they are, inferior players. If the El Salvador players man for man are inferior to the Reggae Boyz players man for man, you would want to, my terminology now, uglify the game, make the game an ugly spectacle. And it certainly was an ugly spectacle, hard to watch in parts, because by doing that you equalize the talents of the players. And I thought El Salvador did that pretty well. And the Reggae Boyz really didn't have many answers except for a moment of brilliance from one of the best players in the English Premier League right now.
Well, they were very welcoming and accommodating to that fact as well, George, that's for sure. And, you know, I looked at the game and I had some notes written here. And one thing that stood out for me, the back four of Lowe, Mariappa, Fisher, of course, Lawrence, and I would also include Blake in that. They must have punted the ball. I had a count of roughly about 11 times. And when I mean punt, I use the American phrase because exactly that's what happened. I use the word punt specifically because it was aimless. I would love to see the pass completion percentage throughout the entire 90 minutes, because that there lies your problem. If you're trying to break a press, which El Salvador is not a great team at pressing the football, but they were easily afforded that luxury because the mere fact that those names I just mentioned, George, did not want the football. They did not want to possess. They didn't want to build out to the back. So you ended up seeing 99% of Jamaica's attacks built through long balls played up front. And, of course, as you know, that's not going to help Liam Bailey. That's not going to help Valencia, as great of an attacker he is. It's not going to help anyone up front there. Nicholson, you could go through the list of them. And that there is a primary issue that Jamaica has. Until they try to play football, which they're not going to, we're always gonna have this sort of conversation.
But you know, it's funny, and I'm wondering how much the team is learning and improving, because the point you make about the punting, and it's the perfect word you've used to describe what happened. I counted Damian Lowe's punts over the first 3 games of this campaign, Brent. I think it was about 23 times that he went long after taking the ball from his goalkeeper or from a colleague in the defensive unit. And of the 23 times he punted over those 3 games, he found his man 2 times. That is insane. That is free. That is like me coming to you every month and giving you $100,000 for free. It's madness.
Yeah, it's absolute madness. And you know, I got a lot of calls when I spoke to the fact that I wouldn't start Valencia and I wouldn't play.
You mean
Morrison.
Antonio?
Sorry, Antonio, I keep saying Valencia. I wouldn't start these players, and this is the reason why. You have a Lamborghini and a Porsche parked in their garage, but yet you're expecting them to drive down one of the worst roads there is. It's not going to work. They're not going to be used. And we saw that in the Panama game in the office, where they were absolutely annihilated because they tried to use them and expected Antonio to chase balls over the top over and over and over, and it's not going to work. You look at Leon Bailey, an exceptional talent. He's not getting the balls in isolated positions, which he thrives on, to take players on 1v1. Instead, he has to chase after punts, and you're correct. Until that changes, we are going, as I said, we're going to keep having this conversation because it's not happening. When you look at the way Jamaica set up, and whether it's from a goal kick, any retake, they refuse to look to possess the ball because the players there just don't want the football. And as I said last week when we were talking about the preview to the game against El Salvador, I said that's one of their biggest challenges, and it came to fruition. And I must say, despite the fact that all that was said, once Jamaica went 1-0 up, I thought they should have done enough to keep that result. It was very, very disappointing to give away a goal so late. But El Salvador, if we were to be fair, I think the 1-1 scoreline is a fair result in a balance of play, the entire 90 minutes plus. Right,
Brent, and based on the observations that you've made, do you get the sense that there will be changes against USA tomorrow when we play here in Jamaica?
I think that's a great question, man, because at the end of the day, I said it last week and I say it even more so today. I think this is it for Jamaica. It's either they win or they go home. I know it's still very early in the tournament. I know it's still a lot of points to play for. But if Jamaica is to qualify for the World Cup, they have to get all 3 points against the United States of America. To do that, you have to play on the front foot. To do that, you have to want to possess the ball and actually play football. And I'm not sure with the current situation that the Jamaican current team is willing to do that. The coaching staff is still willing to allow them to do that, or they have the capabilities of doing that. And I think that is the overarching question and maybe the overarching response as well.
Right, Brent, and you talk about the points and whatnot. We have 7 games left, 5 at home in Jamaica. We know now there is the reintroduction of fans. Of course, it's controlled, but there will be fans. Mathematically, do you think that the Jamaica Reggae Boyz can qualify? They are 5 points away from 4th position, 7 points from 3rd. What do you think?
Yeah, mathematically they can, and I'm very sure that any person with the greatest of optimism would always believe that Jamaica can qualify, but I'm dealing with strict reality and what I've seen so far. And I just don't think we are going to see any great improvement that's going to suggest that Jamaica is going to run the table. I don't see them, and I can be very specific as well, Mariah. I don't see them beating Canada at all. I don't see them beating Mexico. I struggle to see them beating the US tomorrow, whether, of course, being at home. I just don't see those results happening. Yes, I think they can beat Honduras again. Yes, I do believe they can eke out a result against El Salvador, but that is not going to get you where you need to go to, especially with a Panamanian team that's doing so well. The Canadians, the Americans, and the Mexicans, they're gone. Forget it. I think they're already qualified as far as I see it. So when I look at it from a realistic point of view, I think it's very, very tough for Jamaica.
Even though tomorrow is November 16 and it's when Jamaica qualified for the 1998 World Cup?
Look, I am a romantic, just like any other person, and I would love to see Jamaica do well. But I'm asked to come on this show to be as real and to be as honest as possible, and that's where I see things are. And the thing about it is, as much as the US has struggled on the road, this is the first window with 2 games. This is on the backdrops of where the Americans probably played, and arguably their best football under Greg Berhalter against a Mexican team, and I suspect they're going to play a very similar lineup that faced the Mexicans recently. And to me, that spells troubles for the Jamaicans.
Brent, you criticised the back 4 just now for giving the ball away aimlessly, generally speaking. But to be quite honest, I think the midfielders were guilty as well. I was looking at the game closely, and the only accurate passes that the Jamaicans played throughout the 90 minutes were lateral and back passes. Pretty much every forward pass was given away. I know that today we heard a lot of pressure from the local fans that Theodore Whitmore cannot handle this job. But the players let him down, didn't they, on Friday night?
Yeah, I hear a lot of people say that and talk about, well, he can't, he's not up to scratch, he's not doing it. We see teams in the Premiership struggle to possess the football. We don't have to call any names, we know who they are. And that's a fact. There are very few teams in world football can do that. And as much as we talk about all these caliber players that are coming in, etc., it is a very difficult ask and proposition because, historically, as I said before, the Caribbean teams struggle in possessing the football. And of course, the Central American and North American teams are well aware of that, so they press us very high. And that is where the challenge begins. You're right, the midfield did not make themselves available for the ball, and the defense didn't want it off the goalkeeper. So when you combine those two facts, it's very, very difficult. And you have to possess the ball to play out of the press. If you kick the ball aimlessly long, it's not going to happen for you. And so because of that, we've watched now 6-7 games in the qualifiers. It's not going to just change overnight in a game against America tomorrow. It's not going to happen that way. So for Jamaica to get a victory tomorrow against America, they have to match the intensity, and they're going to have to hope that they get that moment of brilliance again, that moment of individual brilliance again, to put the ball into the back of the net.
Yeah, Brent, what were your thoughts late in the game when Liam Moore was brought on by Whitmore to replace an attacking player to, I guess, shore up the game?
I mean, you could question those sorts of decisions. Me personally, again, I would have probably looked for something more from the attacking side to stretch the El Salvadorians and probably keep them back. But I think after Jamaica scored, they kept inviting more pressure onto themselves. I just saw the line dropping deeper and deeper. And I mean, I was sitting there screaming, get your back up, get your defense up and hold a higher line. And once they started to drop, the El Salvadorians started whipping balls into the box. And I think that was the end. And Lance, you asked that question, but I also asked the question with the players on the field, where's the leadership? Where's the person that says to every man jack in the back, step up, hold a higher line, be, of course, more aggressive in that sort. I mean, the goal scored because of lack of concentration. There's no way a player should be given that much time to cross a football. And even worse, someone to ghost into a box where at least 70% of your team is 6 foot plus. That is just ridiculous. And because of that, they paid the ultimate price and they left San Salvador with 1 point instead of 3.
Brent Sancho, great as usual. Thank you for stopping by. We'll talk again.
Thanks, guys. Have a great one.
All right, so these were the results from round 7 in CONCACAF World Cup qualifying action. 1-1, El Salvador and Jamaica. Panama winning on the road, 3-2 over Honduras. That was a cracking game. The USA humbling Mexico in Cincinnati. And Canada continuing to go from strength to strength, 1-0 at home over Costa Rica.